You know, we're flawed people. And all our life we're going to have flawed relationships with flawed people. I call it being flawsome. The best you can ever be is a flawed person having a flawed relationship with a flawed person. That's a good thing. It's great to be flawed because you have your thoughts. And your thoughts dictate your feelings. And your feelings dictate your behavior, which you justify because you go back to the thought. We have to stop making people think they're fragile because human beings are powerful beyond belief. So the way we feel about everything comes down to two very simple things: the pictures we make in our head and the words we say to ourselves. So we always want to go back and say, what are the pictures you're making in your head? What are the words you're saying? What happened to you today that made you feel you couldn't speak or you couldn't sell or you couldn't contribute?
What does mental health mean for organizations?
So a good company would say, how can I meet all the needs of my employees? Can they feel they've got something that gives them meaning and purpose? Do they feel they're contributing? Because we think we're modern people, but we're not really. We're very primal people. We have the same needs as cavemen. We need to belong. We need to feel significant. We need to feel safe. So if a good company would be, okay, I'm a team leader and I see this person in my team that isn't thriving. I see this person that can't speak up. And I'm going to start working on the causes of mental health. It's that I don't feel worthy. I haven't got a voice. I don't know how to speak up. I don't know how to follow my heart's desire. I'm scared of failing. I'm scared of being rejected. I'm scared of speaking up. So good is, let's stop treating the symptom and look at the cause of the symptom. You know, we have an epidemic of depressed kids because they're on their screens all the time. You know, our primary need in life is to find connection. And if you're working on the screen, you're actually finding disconnection. And we're getting replaced by robots. And we're creating an epidemic of disconnection. That's what we have to fix. You know, if you get up and go, I feel I belong, I like my job, I'm doing something that matters, I feel significant, you're probably not going to get depressed. And even if you are, you can cope with it. So we have to stop making it a dirty word, but really look at what is causing it. Why have we got this epidemic of people who are so sad, so unfulfilled, and so disconnected? And what can we do about it? I really want to help you grow, but you can help me back by liking and subscribing. If you like and subscribe, I can let you know what else is coming up to help you grow. We always want to grow and expand, not contract. So please like, please subscribe, and please write to me and let me know how I can help you. What kind of stuff would you like to hear? What kind of material? And I promise you I'll do it for you.
Marisa, I'm going to come to you with a question in two parts. Because often you talk about empowerment when you're the founder of the I Am Enough movement. So when you look at self-talk, why is it important for organizations to sort of address the self-talk, the insecurity of their employees? But then also, because I know you work with a lot of CEOs, I know you work with a lot of leaders, why is it equally as important or perhaps more important for leaders to lean into that examination, their self-talk? Because how does that show up in organizations when you've got very insecure leaders?
So the way we feel about everything comes down to two very simple things: the pictures we make in our head and the words we say to ourselves. So often I'll have a leader who says, you know, I don't have any coping skills. I worked with a woman recently who said, I can't do this because I'm not a man. I'm leading a team of all men. I'm a woman. And I'm falling apart. And I said, but the person who gave you the job must have believed in you and seen something in you. So we always want to go back and say, what are the pictures you're making in your head? What are the words you're saying? You're saying, I can't cope. But if you said, I have phenomenal coping skills, and I was working actually in a psychiatric clinic where they had this group and all they go around and goes, I like butterflies, I like cats. I went, no. Let's all say, I have phenomenal coping skills. I have extraordinary coping skills. I have amazing coping skills. And because they began to say that over and over again, they were changing the pictures and words. So we want to make it simple. People don't understand about the frontal lobe cortex and this neural pathway that doesn't, they want to, oh, I feel bad because I'm giving myself the wrong words and pictures. And if I'm doing it, I can change it. A simple shift. I can't cope. I have amazing coping skills. I'm worried you might not like my speech. Actually, I've got a great speech. I've got something to say. And I find at that level, working with leaders, is they can also go down and say, you know, darling, that's giving yourself the wrong images. You're going on stage going, oh my God, what if I go blank and I open my mouth, I don't know what to say, but what if you're amazing? So I think leaders have to make it very simple. You can look at your team and say, that person isn't thriving. Let me talk to them. Not what's wrong with you, but what happened to you? What happened to you today that made you feel you couldn't speak or you couldn't sell or you couldn't contribute? You know, I was working with a pilot who said, I fight with my wife for custody. I get on a plane, I've got 500 people behind me and I'm freaking out because I'm not equipped to fly with this mental health issue because my wife is horrible to me. And what would help is say, you know, when you're flying the plane, you can say the words narrow down and you can do your job and you can park all that emotion, but you have to believe you can do that because our feelings are the most real thing we have. And helping people believe, you know, I can get through this, this too will pass. I am depressed or sad or anxious or lonely or rejected. We have to stop making people think they're fragile because human beings are powerful beyond belief. Just that little shift of, I could change those pictures. I'm not exhausted. I'm just tired. I'm not falling apart. I need a bit of sleep. I'm not losing it and falling to pieces. I'm just having a challenging situation. If we can just make simple shifts as leaders that we can pass down, we find that the people below us can also make those simple shifts. And we've got to stop saying, I'm falling apart. I'm dying, I'm stressed out, this is making me go insane, this client is making me go crazy. I have to go, no, stop all of that. This client is a challenge. This is a situation, but you're resilient and you have phenomenal coping skills. So it really comes down to language because you have your thoughts and your thoughts dictate your feelings and your feelings dictate your behavior, which you justify because you go back to the thought. So before we change the behavior, we need to go right to the top and say, let's look at the thinking that's causing this behavior. Like people say to me, how can you speak? I could never do that. But, you know, I love it. I find it exciting and thrilling. If I found it terrifying, I get a different job. Or maybe I'd go back and think, I'm thinking a thought. I'm terrified. I might go blank. Now I feel anxious. And the behavior is, well, I'm getting an ulcer now, so I can't even do speaking anymore. So it's thoughts dictate feelings, feelings dictate behaviors and actions, and we want to go back and start at the thinking. What are you thinking that's making you feel so awful? Nobody likes me. How do you know that? Well, I never go out. Well, then how do you know no one likes you if you never go out? Because I'm looking for love and I can't. But where are you looking? I would go to yoga. With who? Well, all my girlfriends. Any men they know. Oh, so you're not actually looking for love at all because you're going to a yoga class where there's no men. So sometimes it's simple. I'm alone. You know, I had an advice on the right to me, I'm so lonely. What are you doing about it? What do you mean? Well, I'm not doing anything. Well, that's why you're lonely. Offer to walk someone's dog. Go to the local hair salon just so you can talk. You know, connection is a choice. If you are not choosing connection, you're choosing disconnection. So we have to show people, you've got this thought, I'm lonely, and now you've got an action, which is I stay in the house because I'm lonely. But how about saying, I could choose? To do something just a little bit. I could talk to my neighbor. I could do something. So that's the empowerment. It's a thought, a feeling, a behavior. Let's change the thought. Just a simple thought. I can talk to people. They're not rejecting me. I'm rejecting me by sitting at home worrying about the fact that I'm so lonely. So empowering is you can change they're your thoughts and you can change them. And if you change your thoughts, you change your feelings. If you change your feelings, you change your actions. If you wake up and think, I'm not enough, which 80% of us do, the feeling you feel is, well, I feel frustrated, I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel resentful. And the action is no action. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to go for that promotion because I'm not enough. If you take out the not and go, I am enough, I'm good enough, worthy enough, you feel brave, you feel motivated, you feel ready to take risks. And the behavior is, I'm going to go for that promotion. I'm going to get that pair. I'm going to ask that person out. I'm going to talk to someone. You always want to flip the thought. Our thoughts are ours to change and upgrade, and empowering yourself starts with empowering your thoughts. I can't becomes I can. I'm anxious becomes I'm excited because the brain can't tell the difference anyway. I'm not prepared, I'm ready. We help people feel empowered by thinking better thoughts, not sometimes, but all the time. And it's so simple and it's free and it really, really works. And that's what we should be putting into schools and businesses. Well, you know, can we help people upgrade their thinking? And then you'll have a workforce that's productive and never wants to leave because they know they're making a difference.
Could you give us some practical advice for employers or employees when they walk through the door? What should that self-talk be?
One of our human needs is certainty. You know, from the minute we're born, we have a driving need for certainty. I'm going to be okay. And we're now living in an uncertain world with a perma-crisis going on. And I was just talking to a company last week, giving that very lecture. How can you be the certainty in an uncertain world? There's only one answer. In an uncertain world, you must be the certainty you crave. And how do you do that? You go, well, I'm the same mother. I'm the same father. I'm the same parent. Can I create certainty, which may sound almost unrealistic, but you can. So one of the things we must do for our staff when they come in, especially from that situation, you know, my parents are in Lebanon and I'm so anxious about this. Can you be the certainty? Can you show up and meet your needs? Because a lot of our issues come from unmet needs, and our needs are very simple. We need to feel safe, but that means safe to express ourselves and safe to have a job. We need to feel connected, we need to feel significant, and we need to feel that we matter. And a great company can go, well, these are needs. Why don't I put them on a board and look at them every day? How can I give my team connection, significance, safety? What can I do? How can I make my staff feel seen and heard? How can I give them certainty? Because when you have certainty, I'm always going to have this job, I'm always going to have this relationship, you feel better, you have better coping skills. So it's really going back again, what are humans' needs? They're very simple. They need to feel safe, connected, significant, loved. Well, you don't have to get the loved at work, but the other three, a great team can do that. They can say, okay, what can I do here? We also need to be seen and heard and have someone proud of us and be celebrated. But the first four are the really important ones. And so we're always paring it back to what's really going on, what's happening to people. As you say, when we were tribal people, we always felt connected and significant because we knew who we are and where we came from. And now we don't. We live in a multicultural society. We work from home. We don't have anyone to talk to. We get Deliveroo and Uber and never speak to a soul. And we're feeling disconnected and insignificant. And that kind of breaks people's hearts. But a good company can say, well, let me go back to grassroots. Can I have away days? Can I have business lunches? Can I get mentors for these younger members of staff that don't feel significant or connected or even safe to express themselves? And also the basis of all friendships is we choose people who share our vulnerabilities. My hardest clients are want to go, I'm perfect. I'm a perfect boss. Look at me. I look perfect. And they're the loneliest, unhappiest people in the world because they cannot let themselves be vulnerable. But vulnerability is a gift. We like people who are vulnerable. We connect with people. So bosses who by nature say, I can't go to the bar with my staff, or I can't go for lunch because I'm the boss and I have to have this air and I might have to fire them, are actually really suffering because they're so disconnected and they're scared of being vulnerable. But actually like people who are vulnerable. We bond and get people who can say, oh, you know, I've got this issue or this fear or this worry. So when you say to people, you know, vulnerability makes you attractive and desirable. We all like the dog with a wonky ear and the cat with a funny little grin and the person who says, well, I'm not quite perfect. You know, we're flawed people. And all our life we're going to have flawed relationships with flawed people. I call it being flawsome. The best you can ever be is a flawed person having a flawed relationship with a flawed person. That's a good thing. It's great to be flawed. And the worst thing is I'm a perfect person. I'm not having perfect because I can't find another perfect person to be with because it's all fake. I'm pretending to be perfect. So what can a company do to make you feel connected, significant, and safe to express? You can do a lot. You can have workshops, you can have drop-ins, you can have a place where anybody can go, a private room, and talk about their feelings. Because your feelings are the most real thing you will ever have in your life. And your feelings are always trying to help you. And feelings are either in or out. And they cause much more pain when they're in. And when you can say, I feel this today. I feel anxious, upset. I feel disconnected. I feel overlooked. I feel that no one listens to me. Even expressing that. I do something called AAA, which is called be aware of your feelings, accept them, and then articulate them. People say, I don't even know what they are. When I feel a feeling, I go and eat something, or I buy something, or I drink something. But you have to go back to these 3 A's. I'm aware that I'm feeling furiously jealous of my colleague. I'm going to accept it. And then I'm going to say it, maybe not to them, but today I feel jealous. This person got a promotion and I didn't. What's wrong with me? And as long as you can have them out and have a place to go and say, I know this is ridiculous, but it's like saying being diabetic is ridiculous. If you feel it, that's the most real thing you have. Your feelings are there to help you, guide you. No one says, oh, I feel scared of standing on a ledge really high without a protection, because that's like, well, that's protecting you from falling. But feeling anxious, feeling undervalued, feeling betrayed, feeling let down, feeling you don't matter, are as real as the feeling of when I go stand on the edge, I think I might fall, so I pull back. Your feelings are there to help you. And you must feel the feeling until it no longer requires to be felt. So a great gift is to go, what am I feeling today? Maybe it's unreasonable, but I feel it. I feel resentful of my boss, but I can say that to myself, because if you say it, it actually goes away. But if you try and ignore it or Netflix it or Krispy Kreme donut it, it's going to come back. So remember, your feelings, you're going to feel them until they're no longer required. And just say it. Today I feel furious with my husband. I could quite happily leave him. But if I say it, I'm actually not going to act on it. And actually, I've worked with a lot of prisoners, and they don't even know what they feel. They're so disconnected. They won't say, I feel rage. They keep it all bottled in until they explode. But being able to talk about their feelings and say them without being judged or being told, well, that's silly. You shouldn't feel that. It's like saying you shouldn't feel hungry. Well, but you do feel it. We have to, as companies, allow our staff to feel all their feelings and have a safe place to go and say, I know this is crazy, but this is how I feel. And it often isn't crazy, because our feelings are coming back to the basics. I'm scared of being rejected. I'm scared of being a fraud. I'm scared I won't be good at this job. I'm scared you won't like me. And when you can do a lot more praise and help people, there's always a safe place to talk about their feelings, no matter how crazy they are, then they'll feel safe, they'll feel better, and they'll be very valuable employees. And you'll feel better because you're doing a great job of listening and saying, oh, yes, I understand that. So many of my clients will come in and say, I feel I just need to eat all the time, or I feel I've got to work really hard and I've got to show up. And I go, darling, your real feeling is you don't feel good enough. That's the real feeling. So let's treat the real thing, because you are enough and you're allowed to fail. It does come back to having these skill sets of listening, identifying what's going on, but also having a solution. Just listening on itself isn't quite enough. You must be able to offer a solution.